Hi, I'm Dr. Janak Patel. I'm starting the second half of rhythm examination in ECG strip. So we have finished the first part of rhythm. So I'm starting with the second part. So I'm skipping over all this, what we have done. Yes. Now, whenever you see a ECG strip, it should be base strip is L2 rhythm strip and it should be for minimum 6 seconds. And if it is longer, it is always better. When you call that as a sinus rhythm, if any impulse which is arising from a SA node or we call sinus node, and if it produces PQRS complex, it is called sinus rhythm. In sinus rhythm, P wave will be there before every QRS complex, or we call each QRS complex, and P wave will be in the same direction as a QRS complex. Means P wave is upright, QRS complex is upright, T wave is upright. In AVR, P wave will be inverted, QRS complex will be inverted. PR interval is normal and constant. QRS complex is narrow, means less than 0.12 second, and it is normal. There will be no pacemaker spike. Depending upon the rate and regularity, you can say sinus bradycardia, sinus tachycardia, sinus arrhythmia, and other types of abnormalities. So that is sinus rhythm. Means whenever you say a person is having a sinus rhythm, means rhythm is starting from sinus node origin, or we call SA node origin. So it is characterized by P wave present before each QRS complex. PR interval is normal and constant. QRS complex is narrow. QRS complex and P wave and T wave all are in the same direction, or we call conquadrant. Then we call that as sinus rhythm. Now sinus rhythm can be divided into regular and irregular. In regular we get normal sinus rhythm, sinus bradycardia, sinus tachycardia. While in irregular rhythm, in sinus origin, it can be sinus arrhythmias and sinus disorders like impulse formation disorders, we call sinus arrest, and tachybrady syndrome, we also called as sick sinus syndrome. While impulse conduction disorder, we call as a sinoatrial exit block and AV blocks. These are the rhythm which is sinus in origin and will be irregular, maybe regularly irregular or maybe irregularly irregular. But regular sinus rhythm are normal sinus rhythm, sinus bradycardia, and sinus tachycardia. This is regular sinus rhythm where you can see each QRS complex is preceded by P wave, PR interval is constant, QRS complex is narrow, RR interval is regular. That's why this is regular rhythm. And if you calculate the rate, roughly it is around 75 per minute. So this is normal sinus rhythm. Now if you calculate here, see the P wave is before each QRS complex. All P wave are identical. All QRS complex are identical. PR interval is constant. And if you calculate by rate, it is roughly, we can say, around 10 small square. So around 12 small square. So around 125. So this is more than 100. And it is sinus rhythm. So we'll call this as a sinus tachycardia. Now in this strip, you can see that all QRS complex are identical. All P wave are identical. P wave and QRS complex are in same direction. PR interval is constant. QRS complex is narrow. QRS complex and T wave is in the same direction. So this is sinus rhythm. But now if we calculate the rate, roughly this is around 30 small square, 1500 divided by 30, its rate is around 50. So this is sinus bradycardia. Now this is one. Now you see here, all QRS complex are identical. Each QRS complex is preceded by P wave. You can see all are preceded by P wave. PR interval is constant. PR interval is nearly constant. Now if you see properly, PR interval here is little less. Here if you see it, a little more. So it is slightly variable. But if you look at the RR interval, see this RR interval, see this is bigger, this is little less. So it is changing. So it is irregular. Now according to the criteria, P wave present, QRS complex narrow, P and QRS complex in the same direction, PR interval constant, nearly constant. This is sinus rhythm. But regularity wise, this is irregular. And when you see, this is irregularly irregular, but it is sinus in origin. Always suspect sinus arrhythmia, or we also use a term called sinus dysrhythmia. This is because some person has got little sensitive sinus node which will change the rate, but rate will not be less than 60 and will not be more than 100. It will remain between 60 to 100, and this will change with deep inspiration and expiration. I'll show you in another. You can see that during deep inspiration, because there is increased sinus tone, there is an increase in the sinus rate, and that gives rise to little increase in the heart rate. But during expiration, there is a decrease in the sinus node rate, and that will produce little towards sinus bradycardia. So rate will vary with inspiration as well as expiration, while all other criteria of sinus rhythm will remain same. And this is classical of sinus arrhythmia, or we call sinus dysrhythmia. So you can see here very clearly, this is during deep inspiration and this is during expiration. Slowly the rate is increasing and decreasing. This is increasing during inspiration and decreasing during expiration. And this phenomena is called sinus arrhythmia. You can see here also, this is during expiration, this is during inspiration. So this is classical of sinus arrhythmia. Usually you don't have to do anything. This is a normal phenomena, may occur in some person with COPD. Now this will produce irregularly irregular or maybe regularly irregular. But if you see here, there is a QRS complex. All QRS complex are narrow. RR interval is constant. P wave is present before each QRS complex. You can see here also, P wave is present before each QRS complex, and PR interval is also constant. So by rhythm wise, this is sinus rhythm. But if you see here, this RR interval, this is big, so it is irregular. Now if you see in between these two RR, there is an isoelectric line, there is no deflection. So there is no P wave, no QRS complex. And as there is no P wave, no QRS complex, means sinus node has not generated any electrical impulse. Hence, there is no atrial contraction, there is no ventricular contraction. Means there is no P wave generation, no QRS complex generation. That's why this is called SA block. Means sinus node may have generated the impulse but has not activated atrium. This is classical sinoatrial block. So PQRS complex is totally absent. P wave is absent, QRS complex is absent. Typical. And during that, there will be no pulse, no apex. And person will have a gap between the two pulse. This will be a big gap between the two pulse. And if this increases, we call that as even sinus arrest, or we call sinus pause. And sometimes person can have a syncopal attack, person can have a dizziness, and if sinus arrest is long enough, person can be unconscious and can develop even cardiac arrest and can have a sudden cardiac death. So do remember, here PQRST both are absent. So this is typical. You can see here, there is no PQRST. There is a big gap here. These are three normal: P wave QRST, P wave QRST, P wave QRST. All are identical. RR interval is constant. P wave and QRST are in same direction. PR interval is constant. P wave are all same. This is regular sinus rhythm followed by a drop pitch, and there is no P wave, no QRS complex. Hence, this is called sinus block, or you can call sinoatrial block. And when it is long enough, we call that as sinus arrest. This is similar. You can understand this now. You can see these are normal two sinus rhythm. This is normal two sinus beats, and there is a big pause. And this is called sinus arrest or sinus pause. And if you want to differentiate between the two, you will have to go for electrophysiological study, because in this also there is a no PQRST, but the interval, PR interval from here to here, this particular interval is a multiple of RR, and that will be more in favor of a sinus arrest, or we call sinus pause. This is typical. You can see here, this is 2 pause. This is one beat should have come here, second beat should come here, but now it is now followed by a normal sinus rhythm, and that's why it is called as a pause. While if it comes here exactly, then we'll call that a sinoatrial block. So this is how we try to differentiate. So if we get this bit, if I show you here, if suppose this bit would have come here, then this is exactly 2R. If it is multiple of RR, then it is more in favor of sinoatrial block, and if it is not a multiple of RR, then it is more in favor of a sinus arrest, or we call sinus pause. Now there is one condition we call as a sick sinus syndrome. It is also called as a tachybrady arrhythmia syndrome. It was also called as a lazy sinus syndrome, or it was also called as a sick sinus syndrome. In this, because there is a damage to sinus node, the exact etiology is not known. The person develops suddenly a run of tachycardia, suddenly run of a bradycardia, and person will have a sinus, different types of sinus arrhythmias. Here you can see that there is a normal sinus beat followed by a multiple P beats. Now here you will have a tachycardia, and suddenly there is a big pause. You can see here there is a big pause. So there will be tachycardia, in between there will be a bradycardia. So you will have a suddenly tachycardia, and suddenly you will have a bradycardia, and this can be seen good number of time even in a 6-second strips. You can find out this in a 6-second strip. You will see here that there is a sinus arrest. It might show you intermittent blocks, some AV nodal rhythms, because sinus node is not generating the impulse, so AV node takes over. You will have a nodal rhythms. All this, you will have a atrial fibrillation, atrial flutter. You will have a suddenly sinus arrest, sinus pause, etc. can be seen. But there will be sudden run of tachycardia, and there will be sudden bradycardia. This is very typical of sick sinus syndrome. And if the person who is having a sick sinus syndrome, and if he gets a repeated syncopal attack, he will need a pacemaker. This will be the first thing what he will require. So this is the first degree AV block. This is the second degree AV block. We'll be discussing in detail later on. But I'm showing you this because here P wave are present. Hence, the impulse is generated from the SA node. That's why this is a sinus rhythm. But conduction is abnormal, because conduction is abnormal at the level of AV node. That's why this is given a name: first degree AV block, second degree AV block, that is Mobis type 1, Mobis type 2, etc. And this will produce bradycardia. Even in this also, if you see properly, there are P wave. This is generated from the sinus node, but while conduction, it is not conducted through AV node, and there is an idioventricular rhythm. This we call as a complete heart block. This is also a part of a sinus rhythm, but it is abnormal because there is a block in transmission of an impulse which is generated from a sinus node, These are all variety of sinus rhythm disorders. Now we come to the atrial disorders, meaning sinus node is not generating an impulse. As sinus node is not generating an impulse, atrium starts generating an impulse. So there is a P wave because atrium is activated. This impulse will then travel to AV node, from AV node to bundle of His, to the right bundle, left bundle, and it will activate ventricle and Purkinje systems, and this will produce QRS complex. So there will be P wave in front of all each QRS complex. But because the impulse is generated from the atrium, it is not generated from SA node. So P wave configuration will be abnormal. So P wave shape will be abnormal. Depending upon the AV node conduction, the P wave interval will be either normal or abnormal. But because the impulse is finally transmitted to bundle of His, first activating the interventricular septum and then it activates LV and RV. So QRS complex will be narrow and will be normal characteristics. There will be no pacemaker spike. This is a characteristic of an atrial rhythm. Depending upon the rate and irregularity, you can have different varieties of atrial rhythm disorders. So characteristic of an atrial rhythm, P wave is present because of each QRS complex. QRS complex is narrow and normal. P wave is of an abnormal shape. PR interval may be normal, or if there is a conduction disorder at the level of AV node, it may be abnormal. There is no pacemaker spike. P wave will be always preceded by, P wave will be preceding QRS complex, and impulse is generated from atrium. This is a characteristic. So now you will have different types of disorders which will be there. Now P wave shape may be different depending upon that. F wave, sawtooth appearance, etc. So if you are having an impulse generation from the left atrium, we call as a left atrial ectopic rhythm. If there is a single complex which is showing a P wave before QRS complex which is of an abnormal shape, we call as an atrial premature beat, because that beat will be always premature and the P wave shape will be abnormal. Remaining QRS complex will be normal sinus rhythm. In case of atrial flutter, there will be sawtooth appearance of a P wave. QRS complex will be narrow, normal shape. Depending upon the block, either a fixed block or a changing block, you will have a R to R interval, means it will be regular or irregular. While in an atrial fibrillation, it is always RR interval is changing. So it is irregularly irregular. And there are F wave, we call a fibrillatory wave, means there is an absence of P wave. You can't make out a P wave there. In case of PAT, SVT and MAT, that is paroxysmal atrial tachycardia, supraventricular tachycardia and multifocal atrial tachycardia. Now usually in case of a paroxysmal atrial tachycardia, you will have a run of a normal rate followed by a suddenly paroxysm of a atrial rhythm tachycardia, where P wave may be abnormal and the rate wise it is tachycardia. While in an SVT, usually P wave are not seen and the rate is more than 150, and by and large it is usually continuous. While in a multifocal atrial tachycardia, all P wave are abnormal. You will have a multiple P waves which are abnormal shapes, but rate wise it will be tachycardia. RR interval will be constant. You have got a two other variety of a atrial rhythm which we call the AV nodal re-entry tachycardia, where in a AV node only there is a re-entry which takes place and which will produce tachycardia. This is called re-entry tachycardia, but as it is occurring in an AV node, we call as a AV node re-entry tachycardias. And this will again be a narrow complex tachycardias. While there is another variety we call as a atrioventricular re-entry tachycardia. This is because of accessory bundles, and this is usually because of an accessory bundle of Kent which is commonly present in the left side, which is connecting left atrium to left ventricle. So the impulse will travel through that passage, and this will be classical in case of a WPW syndrome, which is characterized by short PR broad QRS complex, and on the ascending part of a QRS complex you have got a small notch because of delta wave, and this particular group of people will have a very high chance of developing AVRT. We call AV nodal, AV atrioventricular re-entry tachycardias. Now we'll go through some of the ECGs which will explain you all this phenomena. Now you can see here the RR interval is constant here. It is constant, but this bit has come little early. You can see that has come early. This is a normal RR interval. See this RR interval, see this RR interval, and see this. This interval, and this interval is same. Well, this is short. So this has come premature. There is a P wave before. This P wave and this P wave is different. So this is a atrial bit. It is premature. So atrial premature bit. But QRS complex is narrow. P wave and QRS complex are in the same direction. You can see P wave and QRS complex is in the same direction. So this is a atrial premature beat or premature atrial contraction, and it is a single contraction and followed by a pause. It is called a non-compensatory pause. But this is an RR interval is little large. So this is irregular rhythm, and this is a atrial premature beat. And during this you get a pulse but little less volume, but second pulse will be with a good volume, and here you will have apex plus pulse, so you will not have apex pulse deficit. This is premature abnormal P wave and it is atrial, so that's why this is called a premature atrial contraction. So QRS complex is narrow and normal, and there is a compensatory pause. Now you can see here the only difference is there is a P wave followed by a broad QRS complex. Means while traveling from an AV node and then bundle of His, there is an aberrant conduction which gives rise to a broad QRS complex. This is not ventricular premature beat because there is a P wave preceded by a QRS complex, and during this time you will have a pulse and there is a compensatory pause, and this is premature atrial contraction with an aberrant conduction. Sometimes this is mistaken as a premature beat due to ventricle, but during this time if you get a pulse it is because of a atrium. So this is an atrial premature beat with an aberrant conduction. Here also you can see this is a broad QRS complex and P wave is somewhere merged into this T wave, while here you can see a little separate P wave here. So this is premature atrial contraction with an aberrant conduction. Now you can see here all QRS complex are identical. RR interval is nearly constant. All QRS complex are preceded by P wave, but P wave QRS complex is upright, P wave is inverted. So this impulse has not come from a normal area. It is not from sinus. So as it is not from sinus, it is from atrium. And again in atrium, it is not going from right atrium towards the left atrium. Hence, this is from a left atrium. So this is left atrial ectopic rhythm. This is very, very typical in a left atrial ectopic rhythm. You can see all P wave are inverted. They are present before each QRS complex. All other criteria are normal. We say P wave, PR interval is constant, QRS complex is narrow. So this is an atrial focus and it is coming from left atrium. So it is called left atrial ectopic rhythm. Basically, this is a variety of an atrial ectopic rhythm only. But if you get a very good P wave which is inverted, and you see all P waves are inverted and all are same, it is left atrial ectopic rhythm. Now here if you see again, here this is RR interval, this is RR interval, and suddenly you see this interval becomes less. These are all P wave, but they are of little different shape than this previous one. So these are ectopic beat, but they are coming with a faster rate. That's why it is called ectopic beat, but there is an atrial tachycardia. So there is a run of ectopic atrial tachycardia, and again you will have a normal atrial rate, and this rate is more than 100. So that's why it is called tachycardia, and it is coming from an ectopic atrial beat. So that's why it is called atrial ectopic beats producing tachycardia, ectopic atrial tachycardia. So this is a classical ectopic atrial tachycardia. Now you can see here, again similar way, all P wave, you can see all P waves, sorry, see this P wave, all are inverted. Right? RR interval is constant, QRS complex is narrow. So what do you think? Yes, it is atrial tachycardia, but P wave is inverted. So, but they are of a same morphology. So there is a focus which is from a left atrium producing atrial tachycardia. So this is called multifocal atrial tachycardia. So all P wave are abnormal before QRS complex, and this rhythm wise it is regular, but rate wise it is tachycardia. It is more than 100. You can see roughly it is 12 small square. So 1500 divided by 12 means it is more than 125. So there is a tachycardia. So this is not sinus tachycardia because the P wave are of abnormal morphology. But if you see all this P wave, they are of a different morphology. You see this configuration, see this, see this, see this. These are of different configuration. So this is multifocal atrial tachycardia. Now you can see here, what you can see, RR interval is not constant, it is irregularly regular. And if you see here, there are no P wave. These are all we call as a F wave or fibrillatory wave. Hence, this is classical atrial fibrillation. I'll go a little faster. Now you can see here, these are sawtooth appearance. But rhythm wise, this is regular. RR interval is regular. So there has to be a fixed block. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are 4 P wave and there is one transmission. So this is 4:1 block. And if you roughly see, this is 5 small square. So atrial rate is 300 and this is 75. So ventricular rate is 75. Atrial rate is 300, nearly close to 300. And ventricular rate is 70. So this is 4:1 block. Now, if we go through this particular ECG, you can see here the rate is very fast. All QRS complex are identical. Now, if you see, I can't make out where is the P wave. So usually, even if the P wave is present, it is merged with T. You cannot identify. So when you cannot identify, you cannot label that this is sinus or this is atrial or this is nodal. So we call this as a supraventricular. And as the rate is very fast, you can see the rate. It is almost 8 small square. So it is more than 150. It is more than 150. So whenever the rate is more than 150, it is less likely to be sinus. So it is either from atrium or from the node. So we call that as supraventricular tachycardia because we are not able to make out from where it is coming. Now if you see here, now this is a normal rate, RR interval, and suddenly there is a run of tachycardia. There is a run of tachycardia and it is approximately 150 per minute. This is 150 per minute. But you can see here from sinus node the rate is becoming faster, but I cannot identify later on where is the P wave. I cannot identify. So this is called normal rhythm, normal sinus rhythm, and suddenly person is developing a paroxysm of tachycardia. But this is not from sinus because the rate is more than 150. As the rate is more than 150, we'll call this as a atrial tachycardia. So this is called PAT, paroxysmal atrial tachycardia, or we can call that as paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia. And that was supraventricular tachycardia. Such type of supraventricular tachycardia is very commonly because of AV nodal re-entry tachycardia or atrioventricular re-entry tachycardia. I have told you this is because of WPW syndrome and this is because of a re-entry tachycardia at the level of AV node. Now you can see here again similar type. There is a run of tachycardia and if you see this rate, this is almost coming to 200. This is 7 small square. 7 small square. So 1500 divided by 7.5, say we take it. So it is roughly 200, and then the rate slows down. But this rate is also nearly 100 per minute. And you can see P wave is before each QRS complex. QRS complex is narrow, all in the same direction. PR interval is constant. So this is sinus tachycardia. And here there is a run of tachycardia. This is likely to be atrial because I can't make out P wave and T wave. P is merged in T wave, and that's why we can call this as a paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, or you can call this as a paroxysmal atrial tachycardia, and then automatically on its own without any treatment this becomes normal sinus tachycardia. So this is paroxysm, not continuous. Now here you can see this is a 6-second strip. In this particular strip, this is roughly 7.5 against small square, like this only. So this is again a tachycardia. I can't make out where is the P wave. QRS complex is normal. All QRS complex are identical. Now this particular is a supraventricular tachycardia, and this is continuous. So we'll call this as a supraventricular tachycardia, not paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia. Now you can see here, all QRS complex are narrow. I can't make out the P wave at all. I can't make out a P wave at all. The rate is somewhere around 200. So again, this is like a previous one. We'll call this as a supraventricular tachycardia. And in a supraventricular tachycardia, good number of times, because the rate is fast, in a lateral leads, you will see ST segment flattening, or sometime it is depressed, which will be evident like ischemia. So good number of times, ST segment is also being affected in a supraventricular tachycardia, and rate is usually close to 150 or even higher. Now you can see here, there is a tachycardia. You can't make out P wave and T wave. Here somewhere you can see a P wave slightly. P wave can be seen little bit here. So it is coming from a supraventricular focus, but QRS complex is broad. So basically it is a supraventricular tachycardia, but as QRS complex is broad, we call supraventricular tachycardia with aberrancy. And in subsequent lectures, we'll be dealing how you differentiate ventricular tachycardia from supraventricular tachycardia. We'll be discussing that separately. Now this is a very interesting thing. Now just follow properly. See this RR interval. It is changing. Now if you see this P wave, all are different. See all this P wave, they are all different. Meaning all P wave are different. If at least 3 P wave are different and you get a QRS complex, each QRS complex is preceded by P wave. P wave are of different shapes, and occasionally QR interval is variable. PR interval is also variable, but QRS complex is narrow. This rhythm becomes irregularly irregular. Rhythm is irregularly, you can see this RR interval is different. So if rhythm is irregularly irregular, P wave are of a different shapes. PR interval is little different. You can see that here the PR interval is hardly anything. There is little less PR interval. You can see that PR interval is not constant. Not constant. So such things when you get, it is because of a changing atrial pacemaker in right atrium, left atrium, and that's why it is called a wandering atrial pacemaker, or we call wandering pacemaker. You can see similarly here, the RR interval is changing, so it is irregularly irregular. P waves all are different shapes. See this is upright small, this is different shape, this is different shape. PR interval is different. You can see PR interval is different. This is of a different shape, this is of a different shape. All QRS complex are narrow. This is wandering pacemaker. Again you can see all these P wave are of different shape, and RR interval is different. So this is irregularly irregular. P wave shape is different. PR interval is different, but all QRS complex are identical. This is classical wandering pacemaker. Yes, if you remember, well and good, it will help you. if you can identify. Similarly, you can see here, this is again, RR interval is changing. 3 P waves are of different morphology, at least minimum. You can see this. They are of different morphology. Is it clear? So, you can call that as a multifocal atrial tachycardia. Now, QRS complex width remains same. So, you can call multifocal atrial tachycardia, or you can call wandering atrial pacemaker, because the rate is tachycardia. So, you can call multifocal atrial tachycardia. This is multifocal atrial tachycardia. You can see RR interval is changing. The P wave configuration is different. See this P wave configuration. See here the P wave. See this P wave. This is all different shapes. You can see these are of different shapes. So this is multifocal. RR interval is changing. But QRS complex, all QRS complex are identical. And this QRS complex is preceded by P wave, which are of a different shape. So one P wave for one QRS, irregular rhythm. P wave morphology is different. PR segment is different. PR interval is different. This is very commonly seen in a person with a COPD. This is called multifocal atrial tachycardia, or you can call wandering pacemaker tachycardia. Multifocal atrial tachycardia, same. You can see this. This is another terminology which you can come across. This is a part of atrial tachycardia only. Now we go to the another variety we call as a junctional rhythm. What is the peculiarity of junctional rhythm? Usually there is no P wave. As there is no P wave, you can't calculate the PR interval. But sometimes P wave is present after QRS complex, or it may be present before QRS complex, or it is merged inside the QRS complex. When it is merged inside the QRS complex, you cannot identify, you can identify only by EP study. But in this strip, you will not see any pacemaker spike. And all QRS complex are identical and they are narrow. Means the width is less than 0.12 second. Usually in a junctional rhythm, this is regular. Now a normal junctional rhythm is between 40 to 60 per minute. Hence, if the rate is between 40 to 60 per minute, we call as a normal junctional rhythm. If rate is more than 60 but less than 100, we call junctional rhythm with fast ventricular rate. If rate is less than 40, we call normal junctional rhythm with slow ventricular rate. So these are the three which are with regular rate. But if a person gets one single bit which is showing your junctional characteristics, then we call junctional ectopic. Sometimes you can have an escape rhythm from a junction, we call junctional escape rhythm. If all QRS complex are showing you a junctional characteristics, but the rate is more than 100, we'll call that as a junctional tachycardia. And very rare combination where you come across what we call as a AV dissociation. We'll be talking further. So one by one. See here, in this particular ECG, you will see that the P wave is just before QRS complex. Here, P wave is just after QRS complex, and in this, there is no P wave at all. So there will be three groups in AV nodal rhythm, or we call as a junctional rhythm. Now, this particular ECG, you can see here, there is a P wave QRS complex, there is a P wave QRS complex, there is a P wave QRS complex. All these QRS complex are identical. RR interval is constant, PR interval is constant, P wave and QRS complex are in the same direction. So this is a sinus rhythm, but this is sinus bradycardia. And suddenly you see this bit should have come here, somewhere here. Instead of this has come early. Now this is identical like this QRS complex. So this is a narrow QRS complex, but there is no P wave before. So this is not coming from sinus node or not coming from atrium. So this is not atrial premature bit. And as it is a narrow and it has come early, so it is premature. And there is no P wave before QRS complex. So this is a junctional bit. So we call premature junctional conduction or junctional premature bit. Short form we call as a JP bit. This is one variety of a extrasystole. which is because of a junctional. Because this is producing a QRS complex, you will have a pulse as well as you will have a apex beat during this particular time. So this particular type of a person will not have a apex pulse deficit, and you can see that this is followed by a full compensatory pause. This is a compensatory pause which is there. So this will be one RR interval, this is a second RR interval, but it is incomplete. So this is called as a compensatory pause, not a complete compensatory pause. And again this RR interval is same as this RR interval. So this is premature junctional conduction or junctional premature beat. Similarly, you can see here also there is no P wave. This is an abnormal QRS complex. So this is coming from junction, but this is having a little aberrant conduction. This is, you can see this wave and this wave is little different. So there is a little aberrant conduction. So, but still this is coming from a junction. So this is a premature junctional contraction. So this thing will produce occasional irregularities, but beat wise this is junctional, and this is a single beat which is junctional beat. Now you can see here all QRS complex are identical. Each QRS complex is preceded by P wave, but P wave is in opposite direction of QRS complex. So as the P wave is in opposite direction of a QRS complex, this is not coming from sinus node. It is either from atrium or it is coming from junction. In an atrium, there will be a PR interval. Here hardly there is any PR interval. This is just coming before the QRS complex. So this is a junctional rhythm. And if you see the rhythm wise, this is almost 45 small square. 1500 divided by 45. This will come to around 35 to 40. So this is normal junctional rhythm, because normal junctional rhythm is between 40 to 60 per minute. Same thing you can see here. RR interval is constant. All QRS complex are narrow, and it is just preceded by inverted P wave. This is a junctional rhythm. If you calculate the rate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 30 small square. So 1500 divided by 30. So this is for 50. So rate is normal for this. We don't call bradycardia. Rate for junctional rhythm is between 40 to 60. So this is normal junctional rhythm. Inverted P wave before QRS complex, and this is a normal rhythm. Upright P wave. Now you can see this. If you come across a similar way, now you can see here this is an upright P wave, but it is almost with QRS complex. So this is again in favor of a junctional rhythm. All QRS complex are narrow, and if you see the rate is around 40 per minute. So this is normal junctional rhythm. Now again you can see here. So this is around 50 per minute, and you see all QRS complex are identical. There is no P wave before. So this is a junctional rhythm. Rate wise it is 50. So normal junctional rhythm. QRS complex is narrow. So this is not ventricular, and there is no P wave. So this has to be a junctional rhythm only. So no P wave, more in favor of a junctional rhythm. Now if you see here the rate, all those characteristics are being maintained, but 1, 2, 3, 15, 17, 18 small square. So the rate wise, this is say close to 90. So this is between 60 to 90, but not more than 100. So we cannot call that as a tachycardia. So we call that as an accelerated junctional rhythm. All other characteristics, no P wave, all QRS complex are identical, rhythm wise regular, there are no P wave. Is that clear? QRS complex is narrow, so this is a junctional rhythm, and rate wise between 60 to 100, so we call accelerated junctional rhythm. And when the rate becomes more than 100, say here, you can see there is a P wave after QRS complex. So this is the retrograde P wave. This is after QRS complex, but all QRS complex are identical. So this is the junctional rhythm, but rate wise, if you just see this is a 12 small square, so this is more than 125. So this is tachycardia. So this is junctional tachycardia. So P wave are just after the narrow QRS complex, so it is junctional, and rate more than 100, we'll call that as a junctional tachycardia. Similar way here, you can see the P wave before, but they are all inverted, so it is a junctional rhythm. All QRS complex are identical, and if you see roughly the rate, it is 150 per minute, so this is junctional tachycardia. Now this is a diagram which shows you these are three different strips. Here it is before QRS complex, this is after QRS complex, and here there is no P wave, or P wave is merged in QRS complex. And this is again a same showing you which is merged in QRS complex. So there is no P wave. This is before QRS complex, P wave is before QRS complex, and here P wave is after QRS complex. All are junctional rhythm. These are all the three different varieties of junctional rhythm. Again, you can see here, this is tachycardia, while this is a normal rhythm, or we can call as a accelerated. No, we'll just see that 1, 2, 3, 4. So 20. So this is 75, coming close to 75. So this is accelerated junctional rhythm. This is junctional tachycardia. Here you can see P wave in front of a QRS complex. All QRS complex are identical, but this is a junctional rhythm. This is accelerated junctional rhythm. This is junctional tachycardia. So P wave is just before a narrow QRS complex, so it is a junctional rhythm. Now we come to the ventricular. What is peculiarity of a ventricular rhythm? Ventricular rhythm will have no P wave before QRS complex. As there is no P wave, there is no PR interval. But all QRS complex will be broad. T wave will be in opposite direction of QRS complex. There will be no pacemaker spike. This will tell you that this is a ventricular rhythm. It may be single ventricular complex, like in a ventricular premature beat, or we call premature ventricular contraction, or you can have a multiple series of ventricular premature beat, we call as a ventricular tachycardia if a rate is more than 100, or if a rate is more than 300, we call ventricular flutter, and if it is a chaotic lines, we call ventricular fibrillation. If the rate is less than 100 but more than 40, we call as a accelerated idioventricular rhythm. If rate is between 20 to 40, we call as a idioventricular rhythm, and when the rate is less than that, we call idioventricular rhythm with a slow ventricular rate. And if complex which shows a ventricular character, but before that character, if there is a pacemaker spike which is seen, then we'll call that as a pacemaker complexes. And depending upon the rate, we use the word which we have already used. If it is more than 100, we call tachycardia. But if it is between 40 to 100, we call accelerated rate. If it is between 20 to 40, we call normal idioventricular rate. And if rate is less than 20, we call as a slow ventricular rate. These are the terminology which are being utilized. You can see here all other QRS complex are sinus because there is a P wave, narrow QRS complex, all are in same direction, PR interval is constant, so this is a sinus rhythm. But this has come little early. This is the broad QRS complex. There is no P wave. QRS complex is negative, T wave is upright. So this is a ventricular complex. As this has come early, this is a premature. So this is called ventricular premature beat or ventricular premature contraction. But this is a single, so this will give rise to occasional irregularity. So we'll be going through some of those particular things. You can see here, this is occasional ventricular premature beat. So this will give rise to occasional irregularity. While here, if you see alternate beat is a broad QRS complex. So that is a ventricular premature beat, normal sinus beat, ventricular premature beat. This is ventricular bigeminy. So this will give rise to regularly irregular rhythm wise. Well, if you see here, normal sinus beat, couplets, normal sinus beat, triplets. This will give rise to regularly irregular rhythm. But these beats are ventricular beats, ventricular couplets, ventricular triplets. 3 beats are coming in succession, 2 beats are coming in succession. So this is couplets and triplets. Now here if you see all QRS complex are identical. They are broad, not preceded by P wave. QRS complex is broad, so this is a ventricular rhythm. As it is not preceded by P wave, you do not have a PR interval. And if the rate is calculated, this is between 20 to 40. So we'll call this as a idioventricular rhythm. And if you calculate here, roughly this is 15, 17. So this is less than 100, but more than 40. So this is called accelerated idioventricular rhythm. But there is no P wave before QRS complex, and QRS complex is broad. Now if you see here, all QRS complex are identical, all QRS complex are broad, and there is no P wave before QRS complex. But if you calculate the rate, roughly it is 150. 1500 divided by 10. So it is 150. So this is ventricular tachycardia. Roughly. Now if you see here, this is a normal sinus rhythm. Suddenly there is a run of bits which are all identical, all are broad, so they are monomorphic. And if you see the rate, it is more than 100. This is ventricular rhythm, rate is more than 100, so this is a run of ventricular tachycardia. But again there is a sinus bit, so this is called non-sustained ventricular tachycardia. Again you can see here, this is a non-sustained ventricular tachycardia. So this is in a rhythm strip, you can make out two different variety. Here this is a 6-second strip where you can see continuously all are of same size, same shape. So this is called sustained monomorphic ventricular tachycardia. And if you see here, it is sustained, but all are of different shape. This is different shape, this is different shape, this is different shape, these are of different shape. They are ventricular tachycardia but of different shape. So this is called polymorphic ventricular tachycardia, sustained ventricular tachycardia, and this you will get very commonly in torsada pointis. Yes, again you can see that particular thing. There is a run of tachycardia. This is different, this is different, again this is different. You can see these complexes are different, all are ventricular, they are having tachycardia. This is classical in case of a torsada pointis, and very frequently there is preceded by a QRS complex which is with a long QT interval. So it is called long QT followed by a run of tachycardia which is polymorphic. And you can see here there is a run of ventricular tachycardia, and suddenly there is a rhythm which is chaotic. You can't make out whether there is a PR interval, QRS complex is there or not. And this does not have any cardiac output. So person is unconscious, will be having convulsions, no pulse, no blood pressure. Blood pressure is not recordable. Person is deeply unconscious, getting convulsions, no respiration. So indirectly person goes into cardiac arrest. So ventricular fibrillation will finally end up with a cardiac arrest. And this is a medical emergency which will require a cardiac shock, DC cardioversion. So these are the different rhythms. Now we come to the last variety we call as a pacemaker. Now depending upon where is the pacemaker, whether it is atrial, whether it is ventricular, or you have paced atrium as well as ventricle, then we call as a dual pacing, or we call as a AV pacing, or we call sequential pacing. So I'll show you some of the things. The characteristic of a pacemaker complex is before each complex you will get a pacemaker spike. If it is a atrial pacing, you will get a spike before P wave. P wave will be seen after the spike, and QRS complex will be narrow. If it is a ventricular pacing, there will be no P wave. There will be a pacemaker spike. There will be little gap after a pacemaker spike followed by a broad QRS complex. And in a dual pacing, you will have a spike, one spike followed by a P wave, and then will be a second spike which will be followed by a broad QRS complex. This will be classical in a sequential spacing. Now you can see here, this is a broad QRS complex. There is one spike, there is a small P wave, and then there is a ventricular complex. So this is the atrial pacing, and this is a ventricular complex. This is a ventricular complex. This is a spike. This is a pacemaker spike. This is a pacemaker spike, and there is no second spike. So this has to be atrial. If this pacemaker spike was here, it will be pure ventricular. Now you can see after a pacemaker spike, there is a gap, and there is a small P wave here. There is a small P wave here. You can see a small P wave. there is a small P wave, and this is a sharp pacemaker spike. So this is a atrial pacemaker. Now you can see here there is no P wave, no spike here. You've got a big spike here followed by a broad QRS complex. Spike, broad QRS complex. Spike, broad QRS complex. So this is a single chamber pacing, ventricular pacing. When the ventricle is having a poor function, usually ventricular pacing is being done. And when the atrial is a poor functioning, then you ask for a atrial pacemaker. And when both are not working, you can see here two spikes. So this is atrial spike, this is ventricular spike. You can see two spikes. And following this ventricular spike, this is a broad QRS complex. So this is AV pacing, or we call dual pacing, or we call sequential pacing. And sometimes you see occasional QRS complex followed by a straight line, almost no QRS complex at all. This we usually see when the person is going into a terminal rhythm, or we call as a agonal rhythm, or we call asystole. Finally the person goes into ventricular standstill. Here there is no atrial contraction, no ventricular contraction, means no pulse, no blood pressure, and person will have no cardiac output, no heart sounds. Similar, you can see here no complex whatsoever. But before you label this as a ventricular standstill or asystole, always look for a cable fault, etc., if the patient is fully conscious. So here I end my lecture on a rhythm. I hope this was simplified.